Hello, everyone, and welcome to Keeping Score with Dylan and Jack, a podcast show dedicated to bringing analysis of Rutgers sports and sports around the country. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Jack.
And today we'll talk about the Rutgers football team looking to build a winning streak this Saturday at Minnesota. We'll also talk about the NFL, where the NFC Beast continues to reign supreme.
Before we do that, like I said, we're getting decorations, posters, and all that. It's a work in progress, as you can see here. Tape is kind of working. I mean, we'll see if it continues to work, but it's in the works. We're learning our setup too, as you can see from the mic right here. We're learning our setup. All-time call by this guy right here.
Oh, this is like watching a video of yourself.
Yes! Ron Harper Jr. hits it with 2 seconds remaining.
If you don't know where that's from too, can't help you. Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah, that's Harper Jr. hitting the game winner against Indiana a few months ago, and that was like watching a video of yourself. That was just cringe. But
hey, I had to show that we're learning how to use the TV
yes,
up here, right? I
yes.
recognize that we have a 50-inch TV up here that we're just not using.
Yes,
a wall
the former computer science major in me is finally learning how to use technology. But we'll start with Rutgers football. The Scarlet Knights, a big homecoming win over Indiana. A little bit of late game heroics from Christian Braswell and other members of the defense, and another, I would say, a much better offensive team they faced this week in Minnesota. Obviously, Mo Ibrahim is one of the best running backs in college football, if not the best running back in college football. Tanner Morgan is up in the air. He may play, he may not play. He had a concussion, didn't play against Penn State, but I think it's gonna be a real Big Ten football game.
Big Ten football game is the best way to describe this. I mean, on the surface, it's two Big Ten teams going up against each other, but Big Ten football is known just to be a grind, a lot of running the football, power offense, physical play, and I think this game really embodies that. I mean, you got a team, like you said, Mo Ibrahim on the Minnesota side, he's a beast. We got a beast of our own in Sam Brown.
Yes.
We are gonna.
Yes.
It's going to be.
I think I wrote multiple keys articles where I was like, why are we not giving Sam Brown the ball? And we did last week, and it worked because he's great.
Shout out Nunzio Campanelli, new first game in as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Rutgers, and he coached them to a win. So huge shout out to Nunzio and giving Sam Brown the balls, because that was a big difference in the last game for sure. I mean, looking forward to this game. It's going to be a different challenge because you're going to be on the road. It's in Minneapolis, decent flight away. Apparently only 74 players can go on that trip. I learned that today. Thank you, Josh Myers. I learned that that the team can only bring 74 players, but it should be an interesting game. I have an elaborate score prediction and game prediction that I am ready to give when we're done at this.
It's literally unbelievable. It won't happen, but it's
hey, we'll see.
It's a story.
Dylan, what are you looking for in Rutgers this game?
Well, I mean, I think you kind of mentioned it. Give the ball to Samuel Brown. Noah Vedral, great guy. Good leader, but not the best passer, and obviously doesn't have the best wide receiver room either. Even their best wide receiver, who I would say is Aaron Cruikshank, is more of a running back type where
he almost broke one too on Saturday.
Well, he had a punt return that he brought back for a score, but there was a flag.
That's what I'm saying. He broke one, but then that was a ticky tack penalty in my opinion.
Yeah, but it was a penalty. But whatever. Irregardless, Cruikshank's probably their best wide receiver, and most of the time he's getting the ball in a jet sweep or something like that. So it's really going to be a run heavy offense. I really want to see what the offensive line does, because if you look at Samuel Brown, he had 101 yards, 89 of them were after contact. So he only had 12 clean, I guess air quotes, clean yards on the day. So, he had a great day, but I think the O-line really needs to step up. Minnesota does not have a great front four. They only have 8 or 9 sacks this season, which is last in the Big Ten. So, they don't really have a lot of high-pressure guys. And I think on the flip side, I think Rutgers is going to need to bring a lot of pressure on defense. I think it could be like a Wink Martindale-esque game with a lot of blitzes, a lot of safety, a lot of corner blitzes. Just because, one, you gotta have a lot of guys in the box to stop Mo Ibrahim. And obviously, if Tanner Morgan's playing, if he's not playing, I think you got to make them make quick decisions in the passing game, because they have a lot of athletes who can do stuff if they get space. But I think the quarterbacks are going to have a tough time if Rutgers can pressure them. So I want to see a lot of blitzes, and then I want to see an improved game from the offensive line.
Yeah, I was talking to Theo Franz of the Minnesota Daily News. That's the student newspaper in Minnesota. Shout out to you guys. He specifically mentioned Aaron Lewis. He's a guy that he's concerned about, and guy that could really wreak havoc against Minnesota.
Yeah, I think
he mentioned an offensive line matchup that would be really interesting with one of the offensive linemen and Aaron Lewis. I mean, Aaron Lewis has played really well. He's probably been the best defender on our team so far.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to play big. And as you said, I think blitz packages and you can always trust Shiano with the defense. I think that's to be certain. I think they got the talent on defense, and they've shown so far that they can be a good defensive team. And I think moving forward, into this game, we can trust Shiano, with what is going to happen on that end. So I think it's going to be a good game. Like I said, Big Ten football at its finest. Not much for me to say after that. I just think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing you got to remember is defensive coordinator Joe Harasimak. I believe I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I
Close
apologize.
enough.
But he spent 3 seasons in Minnesota, so and it wasn't under a different coach. It was under PJ Fleck. He was their co-defensive coordinator in 2020. So I mean, he understands how that team works. He understands how their offense works. He understands how their defense works. So I think it is an advantage. We can give our predictions, I guess, in a minute, but I think it is going to be a competitive game. I think Minnesota is maybe like an 8-9 point favorite, but I'd say it should be about there. I'd probably say it's going to be a one-score game.
How does the Minnesota home crowd rank in terms of home crowds?
Unfortunately, that's one Big Ten venue I never made it to, so I don't know. I assume they have every Big Ten school besides
they do. I will tell you though, so there's 2 schools that are smaller than us in stadium size in the Big Ten. Who are those 2?
I'd assume Minnesota's one.
Minnesota's second to last. Dead last is a place that you have very fond memories of.
Oh, Northwestern?
Yes. So
as soon as he said fond memories, I said the place they didn't know where to put us, and they put us in like a 1930s radio booth.
Yes. Northwestern is the lowest stadium size, capacity. But I think that factors into things. I mean, when you got a stadium that's not as big as the Ann Arbors of the world, the Big House, and Ohio State and all that, I think that definitely factors in. PJ Fleck, former Shiano assistant. He's definitely gonna know some things about Shiano. Shiano's gonna know some things about him. It should be, like I said, a good game. I'm looking forward to it. 2:30 kick. That's a weird time.
Yeah, I mean, for a road game, it doesn't really matter because you're not really getting up and having a day.
To 1:30 at that time, 1:30 for a football game, it's just a weird time. I feel like. I mean, college football, it's 12.
It would make sense on a Sunday to have it at 1:00, but on a Saturday, it's a little weird. But
a little weird.
Maybe it's their homecoming or something. I don't know, but
good point.
I guess now we can give our score predictions. So Jack, if you wanna go ahead with.
No, I'll let you. Do you have one? I'll let you go first.
I do have one. So,
all right, go ahead.
We mentioned I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. I think that Rutgers is gonna play a lot better than people expect. I don't see it being an 8-point game, but I don't know. I don't know. They have to win 2 more games to make a bowl game, and this is probably one of their most winnable games. They might be playing a backup quarterback, all that good stuff. So, you know what? Rutgers 17-14. I didn't really know who I was gonna pick before, but I'll give it to the Knights. I think they can pull it out. I think Samuel Brown's gonna have a big day. I think if Vedral plays a game manager type role where he doesn't turn the ball over and he's just I think he's gonna be running the ball a lot. We're gonna run a lot of options, a lot of RPOs. But I think Rutgers pull it out. I think Minnesota's a little weak, and I think the only thing is if Mo Ibrahim has had 15 straight 100-yard games, which is the longest streak in the past 25 years.
That's unreal.
Tied with Zeke Elliott at Ohio State.
That's my guy Zeke right there.
Oh, of course. But, no. But he's the best running back in college football. So if he has 150 yards, it's going to make it very hard for Rutgers to win. But I think if Rutgers brings enough defensive pressure and gets a handle on the Minnesota offensive line, that they'll hold him in check. And I think it's a lot like the Ravens. If you make them throw the ball, they will lose. So I'll say Rutgers 17-14. I think Rutgers gonna have a couple turnovers on defense too. All right, this is the moment that everyone has been waiting for. All right,
are we ready?
Jack Stradamus, please,
is everyone ready?
Jack Stradamus,
ready?
Please,
Chris, you ready?
Please.
All right. So, long story short, I have 17-14 Rutgers, and they win. That's it.
Oh, you're the same score.
Yeah.
Nice.
But so okay, here's that. I have 17-14 Rutgers. Like I said throughout this segment, I think it's gonna be an old school Big Ten football game. There's gonna be a lot of running. I think Mo Ibrahim is going to be big factor for Minnesota. Yeah. Sam Brown, I forgot to mention, had a foot injury, at the end or some point in the Indiana game. He's going to be okay, though, from what I heard.
Even like Shiano,
Going
like
to
the
be
next
hurt.
day, it was like, he's fine.
And even like Sam Brown, he's obviously Sam Brown, I think, is our best back right now, but we got guys like Kyle Monungai in the backfield. I mean, Aaron Young is back now, too.
Al-Shadi Salam.
So there's guys back there that they could, relieve Sam Brown with. So, I think it's going to be a very run-heavy game. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm like quoting you on everything, but it's so true. Like Noah Vedral has to not turn the ball over. I mean, the running backs can't turn the ball over, can't fumble the ball. Turnovers are so crucial. So crucial in football in general, but so crucial to this Rutgers team. If you don't turn the ball over, you are giving yourself such an increased chance of victory. So I say all that to give my real prediction, which is turnovers are going to be crucial, like I said. And with 1:11 left in the game, in a 14-14 game, Tanner Morgan is going to drop back. They're going to be on the goal line. They're going to throw a fade to the end zone. It's going to be intercepted by Christian Braswell. Rutgers is going to get the ball back on the 20-yard line on the touchback. And obviously there's only like 1 minute left or so. So Sam Brown is going to run the ball, huge gain, get him down into Minnesota territory. And after that, they'll do a couple of runs. They'll get into the center of the field. Drew McTamaney will line up for the game-winning field goal and hit the right upright and bounce in for the win in Minnesota. Rutgers goes to 5-3.
Literally predicting a doink field goal for the win.
Huge road win.
You're insane.
Huge road win. 5-3, 1 game away from the bowl. Turns everyone's opinions about Rutgers around. I mean, honestly, if we get out of Minnesota with the win, and we're 1 away for a bowl.
I mean, let's be honest. If you really think about it, the only really bad loss that they've had this year is Nebraska. And that's also because they were up 13 and they gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
At home. Did people really? Did you guys really think we were gonna beat Iowa? Because I didn't. I didn't see.
It was possible. You take away the 2 defensive touchdowns to 13-10.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I just didn't at that time. I didn't see it, but I think. The improvement is there.
Yeah.
We're not a team that every Big Ten team can walk over anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The Ohio States and Michigans of the world probably still will. Next week, I don't know why that's a night game. I'm kind of nervous.
I'm very happy though.
It's cool to have a night game.
Thank you, Big Ten schedule makers. 7:30. See, Chris likes it too.
Not noon.
But, yeah.
But yeah, I think this team does have a real chance of getting those 6 wins and making a bowl. But if they don't win this week, you got Michigan,
going to be very tough.
Michigan State, Penn State, and Maryland. Now, Michigan State, and Penn State are probably guaranteed L's. Michigan State only because it's in East Lansing. They haven't been great, but even Maryland.
It's going to be a cold game probably.
Even Maryland, if they have Talia Tagovailoa, who I believe is healthy already.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Coming back, so that's going to be a tough one too. I think they really need this win.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And one of these days that my prediction is going to be right. At least 75% of it. Sam Brown, imagine Sam Brown gets a 40-yard gain or whatever, and then McTamaney hits the game-winning field goal. Wouldn't be exactly, but he would.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could bet on it, but we can't bet on Rutgers in the state of New Jersey, which is so strange. But...
Yep. But I guess that's a good time to segue over to another brand of football that Dylan and I are very accustomed to, the NFC Beast and the NFL. Dylan, let's do it again.
That's going to be coming every week thing.
Yeah.
Except after Thanksgiving. One of us will be very...
His team's 6-1, my team's 5-2. And we're living pretty good right now. I mean, Dylan, the Giants, man, they just keep winning. I call them the one-possession Warriors. That's what I call them. Because they win every game by 1 possession.
They have the best fourth quarter point margin, or second best point differential in the league. They're literally a team where they go into the halftime down every week. I mean, they were up 2 this week, but... They go into halftime down or up 1 every week, and then they're just a team that fights. They're not the most talented. They have literally nobody's playing wide receiver. I love Richie James, and
you guys bench Galladay, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was just the biggest waste of money ever. Thank you, Dave Gettleman, once again for your amazing moves. But they just keep winning. I mean, they had the best player in the NFC this week. Daniel Jones won Offensive Player of the Week.
I saw
110 rushing
Only
yards.
saw that in 15 Instagram stories today.
I'm going to be honest. I was very high on him, in year 1, year 2. I saw a lot of potential. Obviously he turned the ball over a lot and stuff, but he's playing his way to give the Giants no choice but to sign him. If he keeps playing like this and they keep winning, why in the world would you get rid of him? If they go 12-5 and he maybe wins one playoff game, you got to at least franchise tag him. You have to do it.
How big's the franchise tag?
It's for a quarterback, it's probably like 20, 30 mil.
I forgot.
But you also
it doesn't really matter about production.
You also got to sign Saquon Barkley because he's gonna be a free agent, and I think it's one of those things where he's also playing himself back into, because he was a big trade piece early in the season. It seemed like that was gonna happen, but he's so good. He is so good at running the football. He's so good at cutting. He's so good at just.
I'm seeing the
He
same.
leads the league in scrimmage yards now.
I'm seeing the same argument that people were having when we signed Zeke in 2019, where Zeke was the heartbeat of our offense, and we had to sign him basically exactly what you're saying with Saquon, and now we're sitting here like in 2022 saying, "Wow, that's such a bad contract."
Deal. Well,
you sit there in 2019, you say pay Zeke. We're sitting here in 2022 saying give Saquon Barkley the money, but over time, like that deal is just not going to pay.
We
out.
also don't have a Tony Pollard type though. Like Matt Breida, great
Still,
backup
though,
running
you got to
back,
pay
but
a
he's
running
not.
back.
I think you got to pay him.
You think you got to pay him?
I think so. This team, I'm gonna be honest. I predicted this team to maybe win like 5-6 games. So the fact they're 6-1 right now, the fact they're 6-1 and not even first in their own division is really sad. But
Eagles, man, they went out and traded for.
They're real.
They went out and traded for Robert Quinn today. Yeah,
they're for real. As much
they're
as I hate to
team.
say,
They're a good team.
As much as
for
I hate
sure.
to say it, this may be the year of Philadelphia sports.
I actually loathe saying this, but the Eagles are good. They're a good team for sure.
Great team.
But you can't discount the fact that they're playing like they play good teams, but like for the majority of their schedule, they're just playing cupcakes. Like now, I think they got the Texans this week. Like who are they playing this week?
I mean, it's all play who's in front of you.
I know they're playing the Steelers this week. No, wait, are they? Yeah, they are playing the Steelers this week.
Probably win that game.
After that, they got the Texans on Thursday night. What a Thursday night!
That sounds like a trap game. That to me is a trap game.
We had a trap game last year where we got blown out by the Broncos at home. Who's to say that they don't get a game like that? I saw something like, okay, don't go to Skip Bayless for like, actual sports takes, but I saw like on Twitter him saying that the Eagles like have a very real shot to go 20-0, which is like the most ridiculous thing.
20-0.
You gotta understand. That's another topic. But he gets paid for people to.
If the Eagles
react.
go 17-0, I would love to see a simulation between them and the 2007 Patriots. They get blown out. They get blown out.
If the Eagles go 20-0 and win the Super Bowl, I don't think Philadelphia will structurally exist.
No.
In February.
No.
Imagine the Phillies.
Rocky statue will be burned to the ground.
Phillies win the World Series and the Eagles go 20-0 to win the Super Bowl. I don't think New Jersey might just be the crossroads between Pennsylvania and New York, not Philly and New York.
That is a world that I do not want to live in. I think I'd have to pull out the Doctor Strange alternate multiverse for that one.
On another note, where you're from, do you think, because we're both from New Jersey, you think like you identify more with Philly or New York?
Oh, New York. I mean, obviously. I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Yankees fan. I think Philly is more like South Jersey, like like Cherry Hill, like Vineland, like like Millville. Had to mention because of Mike Trout. But,
Cape May.
Yeah, Cape May. Like the South Jersey is more like.
Where do you think the line is? Oh no! Well, you know what?
You're doing this to me right now.
It's a trap question.
Central Jersey.
No,
exists.
I was saying more like what's the line between like New York influence and Philly influence? I feel like it's once you get past or south of Monmouth County, in my opinion.
Well, that's
Ocean County and south.
That's basically like you're drawing the line between like South, Central, and North.
Yeah,
that's basically what you're doing.
Yep, Monmouth County represent. I definitely grew up around more New York fans than Philly fans. That's for absolute certain. Most of my friends growing up were Giant fans, and some Jets and Yankee fans. Like it was New York. Like New York is definitely the influence where I'm from.
But it's crazy right now because I'm pretty sure if the season ended right now, like. We'd be in the playoffs. The Dallas would be in the playoffs. The Eagles would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, you see the playoff prediction.
It was
not. The Eagles the 1 seed. You guys were the 5 seed. I forgot who you were playing. And then we were the 6 seed, and we would play the Seahawks. Vikings were the 2 seed.
They're a surprise story of the season.
Yeah,
too.
Vikings. I feel like
I was gonna say
I haven't really thought about the Vikings.
What is good with the? Hold on, I think we need to make this a general conversation. What is going on with the NFL?
I know
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are both under 500. They lost. The Bucs lost to the Panthers this weekend with PJ Walker at quarterback.
Look, I'll say this.
He was starting in the XFL last year.
I'll say this. Sometimes those teams that fire their coach and look like they have no hope are the most dangerous teams out there. I know that from experience, like watching sports, watching professional sports. Those teams that lose their head coach or lose a star player or something like that.
They lost both their head coach and their best player.
I'm just saying though, like a guy goes down like with injury, like I always give this example. Juwan Howard went and punched Greg Gard last year, and they lost their head coach, and Phil Martelli came in for Michigan. They played Rutgers that following Wednesday, and they beat Rutgers. That was one of the saddest times I've ever had.
That was at
as a
Jersey
Rutgers.
Mike's, right?
No, that was in Michigan. It was a game where like we were still trying to get back into the tournament race. Like we had that 4 straight wins, but we still needed more. And I thought this was a perfect game. Road win against Michigan, all that. And a team without their head coach really beat up on us. So those teams are so dangerous. That said, I mean, like, how do you lose that game, bro? How do you lose that game? That said, how do you lose that game?
I'm surprised you didn't bring up that game where Dak got hurt and then Andy Dalton beat the Giants.
I'm trying to erase that game from my mind. That's
You
actually
guys won that game.
I'm trying to erase that season from my mind. That's actually a good story because that was a crazy day. So Dak went down with that injury. Later that night, the Lakers won the championship. That's just a day I remember in my brain in
the
sports.
Mickey
memory.
Mouse Championship.
Oh,
Yes.
boy. Okay, we're not doing this conversation because you said that. Let's move on to the final topic of our show. I know you didn't want to talk about it, but Mickey Mouse Championship. How about the Yankees? I mean, honestly, it needed to be talked about. You said before the show, I'd rather not talk about the Yankees.
Yeah,
but
I did say that.
You did say Mickey Mouse Championship. I'm like, all right, let's talk about the Yankees.
Well, it's getting even worse because today, like, you have people like talking to their agents and being like, "Oh, it was really hard getting booed at Yankee Stadium," and it's like, well, one, we're a fan base that expects you to win. Like, I'm sorry, like, maybe that's an unfair expectation. Like, we did come one step from going to the World Series, but it happens every year. And a team that is on a $300 million payroll should not be coming one step short of the World Series every year. They hit like. They had like 2 leads in the ALCS, and one of them was in the first game, and one of them was in the 4th game when it was already over. They were down 3-0, and Aaron Boone is still going to be the manager next year. I bet Brian Cashman's still going to be the GM, and nothing changes. It's a continuous cycle.
I did see Aaron Boone's going to be staying.
It's unbelievable. Some of the decisions he made were literally asinine. Like, I don't understand.
Asinine. I love the word.
I'm like, they're making me expand my vocabulary for how bad this is. Every year they do the same thing. And then teams that are smarter than them beat them, and they go, well, you know, we did enough. We won our division. We won a playoff series against a team we were clearly better than and more talented than. And then they play the Astros and lose. And this time it was embarrassing. They got swept. Tickets to Game 4 were $20. A Yankee Stadium playoff game were $20. It is unbelievable. And like, why is Josh Donaldson getting playoff at bats where he can just look at strike 3 down the middle? You know, Aaron Judge hit 160 in the playoffs. And I'm sorry, I know he had one of the best regular seasons in the history of the sport, and maybe the best clean regular season in the history of the sport, but he deserved to get booed after how he played in the playoffs. Yankees fans are fickle, but we understand what we're seeing. And I just think it's going to be more of the same. I don't know if Judge is going to come back. You know, all right, they're going to have to give him $350 million. I would love for him to come back.
A lot of teams are going after him.
He's every team that has money is going after him.
I get a new Bleacher Report update every day, like talking about, oh, the Dodgers are going to spend whatever it takes. They're going to get rid of this player. The Giants are going to not shortcut anything, like with getting Judge. So
I mean, I just want things to change. I want the Yankees to really just. One, I want them to be more analytical. Like, they have guys that they hired in, like, the 90s that are still in, like, their front office. And if you look at Houston's front office, they don't have a guy after, like, they don't have a guy before, like, 2013, 2014 that's not in their front office. So, clearly, an analytics-heavy front office that really understands how to build a lineup, how to build a rotation, how to build a bullpen. And the Yankees are just, like, they're one step behind everybody. They need to clean house. They need to hire a super young group of individuals, guys who are proven, maybe some guys who are unproven. But they need to change their philosophy. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa should not be the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees. Just because a minor league guy is going to come up in a year, who I'm very excited to see, Anthony Volpe, top 10 prospect in all of baseball, but you shouldn't have a stopgap in one of the most important positions when you're playing for a World Series.
I will say real quick before we wrap up this show, that was great, by the way, Dylan. That was great. That was great.
Oh,
I will say real quick,
you said what
you said about the Yankees. I just want to comment real quick, cheating or no cheating. What the Astros have done over the past 5 years.
They're disgusting.
It's incredible.
They're
like,
nasty.
Okay, take away the cheating, like, for a second. They've made 6 straight ALCSs. They've made, what, is their 4th World Series in that time?
I think 3 or 4.
I think there's their 4th. So 2017, 19, 21, 22.
Yeah.
So 4th World Series. They're gunning for their 2nd championship. Like, okay, I think basketball sustained success is hard, obviously, but it's
Baseball
easier.
is
It's
very
easier
hard.
than football and baseball. And baseball sustained success is so hard.
Yeah, I agree.
And the fact that the Astros have made the 6 straight ALCSs and now 4 World Series in that span since 2017 is absolutely incredible. And the fact that they've lost guys through free agency, they lost Correa, they lost Bregman, right?
No, George Springer.
Sorry,
They still have
Springer.
Alex Bregman.
Springer. They got rid of Springer. Those are two huge guys on your team. They were able to replace them with guys that are just as good, if not better. Like, that's a great farm system. That's a great team, and man, shout out Houston Astros. I know the whole cheating thing. I understand it, but the fact that they had that whole cheating thing go through in 2019-20 and have not lost a step is incredible.
Listen, I mean, they just have a great roster. Justin Verlander won another Cy Young. Well, he's going to win a Cy Young at 39 years old. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball again. Christian Javier was in the top 3. I mean, their bullpen was great. Yordan Alvarez looks like he's going to be the best hitter in baseball for the next 10 years. They're unbelievable.
Right.
And, I would love to see the Phillies beat them. I'm a Phillies fan for the next week, but I think Houston is going to win another World Series, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Philly got hot when the time was right, so if they keep playing like that, they could. But all right, before I go on another tangent and lose my voice, that'll be all for today. Join us next time on Keeping Score for more sports recaps, and make sure to follow the Daily Targum on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more content.